All right, number 7, property maintenance, chapter 9, building and maintenance code update. Director of Planning and Zoning, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor. So we adopted the property maintenance code. It's on the books. We can't enforce it until we have two things done. One is appointment of a code official, and then that code official has to meet certain criteria that's laid out in the state code as far as qualifications and experience. And we also have to appoint a board of appeals. So the cover letter, I identified what I see as 4 possible options for appointment of a code official, and what we may be able to pursue with the Board of Appeals to the county. So as far as hiring a code official, you could direct staff to look at hiring a new position. We could continue discussions with Strasburg as a second option, or some other locality for sharing an employee. And we could also outsource the work to a firm that meets the qualification requirements. Or I think this was taken off the table originally, but the county wasn't interested. But it is also still a possible option. The county could administer and enforce the ordinance for us. As far as the Board of Appeals, I would recommend we speak to the county, since they already have a Board of Appeals program, and see if they might, we could reach an agreement with them just to consider Board of Appeals, rather than trying to come up with a whole other entity of our own.
Questions? Chris?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad it came up. We had our talk. At first glance, Article 1, to me, it seems rather obfuscatory. It's convoluted with a lot of details. So I'm grateful for the simplified version. However, in conclusion, I would say there are things we can implement now. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But if I'm reading this correct, Joe, the town manager, can appoint an MCO, right? A maintenance code official. Is that correct?
Yes, our code says town manager would designate that.
Right. And through that appointment, Joe, you have options, correct? You could either hire a new employee outright, you could freelance one, outsource it, go with the county and so forth. Well, it seems like the low-hanging fruit to me is to outsource it outright now. Why would 5 out of 6 people vote for something they're not going to see through? No more kicking the can, no more years of delay. If you vote for it, see it through, right? You have the baby, take care of the baby. So I think you need to outsource this now and go ahead and attack the blighted properties now. And then as the program goes full scale, then you'll look into getting the budget passed and modified for a new employee. I think also, full circle here, as far as the Board of Appeals goes, the county could be good, but I honestly would like to see what the town would present in terms of participation. I think you should present it to the town to see if there are people that are interested in being involved, and that way you keep it all within the town. I mean, you may be surprised in who would be willing to be on that board. You don't know unless you try. But the bottom line is, I know there are things that we can implement and do now, and no more wait and see. I mean, if it's a matter of appointing and getting things going, then I don't understand why that can't take place sooner than later.
Gene?
I have the word appoint is this appointee has to have all the qualifications and the state requirements that we read in here?
He does,
Does.
and that's why I said outsource it. So you would just outsource it, freelance to someone that already has all those qualifications.
Well, I mentioned outsourcing before and said we never got very far with it. But I think we need to start with the dilapidated buildings that are unoccupied before we worry about
Correct.
houses that.
And outsourcing will serve that need best.
And
it will
if we
be
do
most
it under those
cost-effective.
conditions, I have no problem with it. But if we try to do a big program to start with, and I know you got it like you said, you got to start as a baby. And I
Right,
think that's
scale
what we've
up.
been saying all
Yeah.
along. And I'm in favor of doing it if we do the blighted buildings that are unoccupied at this point.
And that's
And see
exactly
where we
what I
go,
said.
because we don't know where we're headed at this point.
Right, so we're in agreement there, what hasn't been said is, why can't we start doing this immediately?
We have what, 60, 70, 90?
50 that are classified as that?
Aren't we told 50?
I was told 70.
Wait, are you talking about money or buildings?
Money.
I was like,
Money
50
was,
buildings.
I think we had 40,000.
40?
Yeah, I believe it was 40. I think.
Keep going.
I don't know, I can get back.
It's enough to get going.
Bob,
When
just
we were
curious.
sent into public hearing with this thing, we were told by, and I haven't chased it, the county doesn't have anything on dilapidated buildings such as this. And they were pressing us that we should push the county to do this. I'm for one, this is my opinion. I don't want to get involved with the county. I want our own people in place. If we're gonna do this, let's hold our people, our staff people responsible.
Couldn't agree more.
Jeremy, if the 40,000 is reality, how many dilapidated buildings do you
Yeah,
think
we buy
we
with
could
that.
look at within that
I
space?
think, my opinion is you'd have to get proposals first, to really assess the
Well, I
cost,
understand.
and then, anything right now is just speculation. I think if a small number is gonna be very cost effective, and something that's staff board, if that's kind of where you want to start, as far as the biggest stuff, I think that makes a lot of sense to outsource it, on that level. But as I've seen in other cases, once the volume starts getting higher and higher, that outsourcing ends up being more than if you had your own employee.
I think that most people, I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody here, but I think that, if we start with a small number and we see how it goes, we have some seed money for it, and if it goes well, I think that the appetite of council might change a little bit to fund this appropriately. And if it's something that we feel like is just not functioning the way we thought it was going to, then that's going to change how we decide to fund this going forward. But we have seed money to get it off the ground. So it doesn't make sense to hire a full-time staff member to do that. I'm in
Joe.
agreement with Councilman T-Wald on that.
Hold on just one second. Joe, what is your thoughts on, you've been contemplating moving forward with this when council decides to move, attacking one or two dwellings,
Yeah, I do,
outsourcing, what is your, as town manager, what's your advice for us to move forward with this?
yeah, I do believe the best route for us right now is outsourcing. Because that's kind of what I've heard all along this whole process, that the dialect and blighted structures are what we really want to, is kind of one of
Get our
those.
teeth into.
Right. But I still, when we start to look at staff, I think that we should continue possibly sharing an employee with the commission and trying to have some synergy there with Strasburg. If we get down that road further. But I think right now, we could, as a staff, we could work on an RFP, get it out there for outsourcing services. See what kind of prices we get back. We won't know.
Sure.
Just like Jeremy said, we're just speculating at this point. We don't know what that cost would be for outsourcing.
And how would we pick what we're gonna attack? We have 50 lighted buildings in town. Do we put all the names of the buildings in town and pick 3, or what? I mean, how are we gonna move forward with?
We just prioritize.
I think it has to be on a complaint basis, the council can certainly make the complaint, but I think if any citizen brings forward a complaint, we would legally, I think, have to respond to it. So that's sort of the unknown as far as the volume, we may have what we have in mind, but if we get other complaints from the community, there would have to be time to investigate that.
My thought has always been, if we're gonna do this, do it right. And we need to do it right, and starting off with baby steps is nothing to be ashamed of. Let Joe get in the driver's seat and get with staff. Sure, go ahead.
Can we offer the county inspector a per diem to look at a few buildings for us without going out to RFP?
I guess it's all possible. I mean, it would be a good item to talk in the liaison meeting with county.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was gonna get to the,
I mean, let's agree upon a flat per diem, and then we don't have to go out for RFP, and then we can test the waters with them.
That was what I was wanting to add. I would still like to see us go with the current building official.
Oh, yeah, well,
It's my
we're
opinion.
in this good
My
discussions, and we have good relations.
I would also throw this out, and I've talked to the people to be. I asked the gentleman in Leesburg who takes care of the same thing. I asked if you guys would possibly go down and talk to them, and he said he would sit down and go over how they do it. My option is still to use the current building official we have. There are some fees in the maintenance code that'll help us get back some of the costs of things. So, you know, it's a number of things we need to sit down and talk about as a council.
Joe, sounds like council, Gene?
Well, again, I'm the one that brought all this stuff started, I think. And Doug, can you tell me whether or not that, I thought that under the state law, and we have a dilapidated building, we don't have to hire anybody to do anything. We just
Exactly.
write them a letter and say, your building is unsafe.
Exactly.
And give them an opportunity to respond back. That was
That's why
my
I'm so
understanding
befuddled
under
by
the
all
state
this.
code that our delegate got us this year.
Well, we
Instead of
can,
hiring people to do that, I thought we could do it under the attorneys.
well, we can, but if you're gonna take them to court, I mean, if they won't do anything,
Well, I
you
mean,
still
that
have to
comes
take
second,
enforcement
but
on.
we never try, then you never know.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can do that. The thing is, though, that if they don't take action, you're gonna have to force the issue, and that's when you need expert testimony.
I understand that part.
And do you send everybody a letter, or do you send a selective few? or-
That's where
that's-
I'm looking at,
yeah.
that's where I'm starting.
Yeah, you-
I think start
If
out
you
with the
select a certain
letter,
few,
you
then
might
it'll be
find
discriminating against their
it might work.
property.
Well, you can't just pick on one
A
person.
lot of questions, a lot of answers that we need before we make, the first step. Yeah, there's, but, absolutely moving forward is the thing to do tonight with staff. The holidays are coming and the budget process is going forward. Joe has a lot on his plate along with staff, but, Joe, if you could, start moving forward on this, getting us some details and.
So the
put a
big thing
meetings on.
budget-wise is, the reason why I'd like to see something start happening earlier this year is because if we're gonna set a budget in the mid-year or by March, then, we like to have some numbers around if we need to
Yes.
be increasing it or what.
So we should be able to get something maybe end of January, maybe.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Something, yeah. I know it's cumbersome, very cumbersome, and it's something that we haven't dealt with, staff hasn't dealt with it, and we're getting ready to make the plunge. All right.
So just at this point in time, since it is in code, if somebody were to complain about a building, Doug, this question's for you. Since it's already, if we just adopted as part of our code, do we have to act now?
I think we should take some action if people make a complaint. Now, if doesn't mean that we have the wherewithal, staff-wise or financially, to do something. But I think we should at least look into it and within the limits of our ability to take action to do so.
I just wanted to point that out. It's part of our code. Somebody right now can legitimately make a complaint about a dilapidated building, and the longer we take to get something in place, the longer we're exposed to this.
Yeah, and that would bring up, somebody complains, and we do our due diligence, we send a letter, but then what do we do? I mean, that's the part we don't know.
Or doesn't staff need, they
That
need
state
to get
code
their
already?
plan together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in state
So
code.
that when they do get the
It's in our
complaint,
code now too.
they'll have a process instead of,
Oh, no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, we've adopted it, and we don't have that process in place, so we gotta.
and I like thank Mr. Morrison for bringing this back to our attention again, so.
Well, in closing, I think it would be beneficial and behoove all of us to at least come out of here with some level of clarity, if nothing else, for citizens, because we're all citizens. So I'm going to act as a citizen right now, and I have a problem, and I feel like, hey, this thing is passed, I'm good to go, I'm gonna have some rights now, I'm gonna start seeing some outcome. And then I'm gonna make a complaint to Jeremy's department, and unbeknownst to me, I'm gonna find out that, whoop, not yet, not quite yet. We need to have a maintenance official and a board affiliated and formed and quotes made by the end of the year, and then new council members come on board and see what their appetite is, and I'm gonna feel like, wow, I just got the biggest runaround ever told, you know? So I don't feel assured that there's actually gonna be any kind of, I don't feel like there's gonna be any kind of closure here as
One
of
of our
right now.
sister communities does not have enforcement at all. They just have a code.
And it's just
Now,
dancing.
We're gonna have to have a people
Being,
board
being
in
a
place.
dumb old country boy from Front Royal, I can tell you right now, this gentleman down in this table has got to have time to put a plan together. And he should have time to recommend outsourcing, put somebody in place, how we gonna put the board together.
Now, while I agree with that, sentiment, what I'm asking for as a citizen is closure as to help me manage my own expectations, Front Royal.
But you
What
as
do
a councilman are saying to him right now, come up with a plan and bring it back to us.
That a citizen can move forward with.
Yeah, managing my.
Right now, you don't have it.
Correct.
All you got is a document that says, these are the things that we are concerned about.
Right.
Until this gentleman at the end of this table comes up with a plan, he's just asking us tonight to come up with what we think is the way forward. And what he's heard is outsource, possibly a board. You know, we're not even sure how you're gonna say to, if you own your house and he walks up to you and says, you got a dilapidated building and you need to do something. Now, what's the process? He doesn't have the process together yet.
Well, we'll get it together. We have a great
When did
staff.
we vote to pass this?
Oh,
What was the,
that
was
was,
that October or September?
October.
October,
October.
right, so,
nobody on council brought it forward. Now it's forward and it's out again and we'll move forward.
And we gotta give him time to put a plan together, whether we accept it or change it.
Anything else, Jake? Joe, council wants to move forward.
I will work as fast as I can.
Sure. And, we know there's many things in the, fires in the iron, but, council has made a statement that, we do want to do something and we want to start soon.